Good morning, and welcome to this week in Phenomenal-ness. We're starting a whole new series here, and we're really looking at how we affect change in the world around us. So, I know I had talked about the Book of Power last week, and we've had some events that have happened over the last couple of days, and I'll get a little more into that as we get started. But first, I'd like to just, bring the energy in and get us prepared to, take in this next couple of days over Shabbat and, Sunday in the Catholic religion and in my faith, today's a day of fast. And it's really just kind of that recharge before we go into our next week. So TGIF first. And let's just kind of get started. So if you would just, think of something that you love and place your attention on it and close your eyes and take a deep breath in and place your attention on your third eye or your tizertil right between your two eyebrows and just see what comes up for you as you sit there in silence with that love in your heart for a moment. And just release that. And let's come back and let's kind of get started here. Welcome to, like I said, This Week in Phenomenal-ness. It's our part one of our next 8 series, and it's how we affect change in the world around us. So I will show you what the activity cards are that we're going to be working with as we get further into this. But let's just kind of take a little recap. Last week was just like kind of the wrap-up week, and, I threw out a couple of things because I really felt like at the end of 8 weeks, what I took away from it was that I was building resilience over the last 8 weeks. And again, that was with your I have, your I am, and your I can. And also the letting go of the outcome. And the activity was who are we as soul. So I posted on the Facebook wall, and it was kind of interesting because, again, always say it, powerful manifestors. There was an interesting exchange that happened between myself and a dear friend of mine. We met up on Friday evening for coffee or tea because I don't drink coffee, and something just kind of like came out of me, and I didn't know where it came from. And I asked her, I was like, when are you guys moving? And she, proceeded to say, we're not moving until, we're ready to buy. And, we're getting close, but it's just not where we're at yet. And I just, I really got that I needed to ask that question. I didn't know why. And but I asked from soul, and it was a nice exchange with her, and we had a beautiful time together, and I really felt connected to her in that moment. And the next morning I got this text from her saying, we have to move by September 1st. And it was really, it was really shocking because that's how fast being connected can bring forth, something in your life. And while it wasn't in my life, I was really just being the vehicle. Me as soul, I was open, and I was completely aware that I was being used as a vehicle, and that's why I needed to ask that question. And the next day, the reason that I asked that question was revealed for her. So, in turn, she then asked me, if you know anybody, please let me know, or if you see any homes, let me know. And I brought up this man that had helped Joe and myself when we moved into this house, and his name was Kofsky. He's a realtor, and he's actually really good at what he does. And Mike actually took Joe and myself under his wing and really helped us find the right place for us. And I'm really grateful that he did that. And so I said to her, this is somebody that I think you should call. And I said, here's his phone number. And I left it at that, went about my day, didn't think anything of it. She was working all weekend. She said, I'm going to call him on Monday because I'm working double shifts all weekend. And then, I don't know what it is lately, it's the heat. I get a knock at the door on Sunday morning. I'm getting ready, Joe and myself are getting ready to go out for breakfast with a couple of friends of ours that we hadn't seen in a while. And we get a knock at the door, and lo and behold, it's Mike Kofsky. Talk about being present and in the moment and really just there to be a vehicle. He showed up to be a vehicle. I showed up to be a vehicle. She was open to what the universe was sharing, and it was such a beautiful exchange. I mean, he was showing up at our house to say, "Hey, I'm renting a house down the street. Why don't you guys come and look at it?" And we were like, "Well, we're really not looking right now." But I said, "Funny enough that you'd stop by. A friend of mine, you know, I gave them your information yesterday." And so I think what came for me out of this whole experience of like, who am I as soul, definitely walked through life this week, just really working to be conscious of how I communicated with others, and if I was getting in the way of my communication by mentally thinking about what I needed to say versus allowing it to just come from within. And as a result of that, I was able to be a really clear channel along with another soul who was completely in alignment with me to deliver a message to somebody who needed the support of the universe. And that, for me, in and of itself, is like a huge, huge, huge blessing and lesson about the fact that if I just really put forth the effort to stay as present as I possibly can in every situation and just use all of my senses to listen, and not just listen through my ears, but listen through my third eye, listen through my heart, listen through all those spidey senses that come up. There's a lot of gifts that can come forward. So that was really a great opportunity for me in terms of last week, kind of the recap, and it helped in building my resilience. So as a tool, I talked about building resilience and being present in soul and who am I as a soul, and asking myself that question really like brought forth the I have strong relationships, and I have strong relationships to the universe and to the universal flow that's coming to me and coming through me and working through me. And I am soul, and I'm a person who uh, is ready to embrace that in every aspect of my life. And I can communicate what soul wants to communicate to the universe outside of me as well as to me. So those are kind of the things that came up for me in the whole tool section of building resilience, and the letting go of the outcome. I really had no choice but to just ask questions and share information that was supposed to be shared, and not that I was forcing or bringing forth as something that I mentally thought should be shared. And it really, it just kept me in alignment with the whole experience of like building resilience and having these letting go of the outcome, and really using that with who am I as soul. I'm not sure that all of that was 100% clear, but I know there was some golden tongue wisdom or diamonds in the rough or whatever you want to call it, and little things along the road for everybody to pick up. So this week we're moving on to the whole idea that motivation. And I've talked about goals, I've talked about goal setting, I've talked about reframing your goals, I've talked about all these things. And I have just found, the reason I'm bringing this up is I've just found over the last like week and a half, 2 weeks, the heat has been so unbearable here that I can't even focus. Like I feel like I can't focus. I feel like, oh my God. And so I really wanted to look at like the whole idea of motivation, and I've been reading up online about like tools and techniques for motivation. And somebody looked at me and they were like, forget about motivation. What is motivation? And I said, okay, great, let me like play with that for a little while. So I'm just going to read what I kind of put out this week in terms of like, my number one tool this week is forget about motivation. Still can't get motivated? Motivation is nothing more than inner movement. And I got that this past like week and a half of being in like scorching heat and not being able to focus and feeling like I just wasn't motivated. So, allow a motivation or your motivation to arise out of your own volition, which it always will if you stay with anything long enough. Um, I'm feeling, this is something that came up for me this week. I'm feeling undermotivated to write proposals. And like, so, I was really grappling with like writing proposals and writing this deck that I need to finish. I've been working on it for like 2 weeks. Um, and so I said, okay, if I just stick with it, even though I'm not motivated, and I just keep going and writing, I will find like that second win. So I stayed with it for 15 minutes, and something happened that was my resistance doing, instead of, I guess, yeah, okay, so I'm just really formulating this. So forget motivation. I still can't get motivated, or, that was the whole thing that I just brought up. And motivation is nothing more than inner movement. So allow a movement to arise within your own volition, which it always will if you stay long enough with anything. If I'm feeling undermotivated to write a proposal, which I had been, I stuck with it. And about 15 minutes into writing it, something happened that has my resistance doing a drop, and now I'm sweeping into it. So, like, I really, after I just stuck with it and dropped the whole motivation thing, I stuck with it, and all of a sudden it just started to get a second wind, like I was talking about. And not even noticing the clock, I sped through it. And you can take decisive action anytime, no matter what level of motivation you feel. So go ahead and just do it, really. Man, I feel like that's what really came up for me this week, is like this whole thing about, like, okay, I got to be motivated. I just said, forget about motivation. And that person who threw that at me was like really great in saying that, because I got stuck in those words. So as soon as I kind of dropped that and I just said, okay, I'm just going to buckle down, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to sweep through it and I'm just going to do it. The motivation, I didn't even have to think about it anymore, because it just kind of moved along, which was super, super cool. As I always say, I love the word super, super cool. And then the other thing that I really wanted to look at is dropping away the things that aren't essential in our life, because I feel like we have so many things on our plate. So eliminate the non-essential. First, identify the essential, the thing in your life that are the most important to you. So identify what is the most important thing to you, that you love the most, that you feel inspired about the most. Then eliminate everything else. So just get rid of everything else. Just for this exercise, let's try that. This simplifies things and leaves you with a space to focus on the essential. This process works with anything, with your life in general, with work projects and tasks, with emails, with communication, with the world around you. So eliminate the things that don't make sense for you and that aren't essential, because that's how you're going to really be effective at being a vehicle who, is working with the universe around her or him. And these things will change your life, because it will help simplify to focus on what's important and build the life that you want. And I truly believe that. So I'm really starving this morning. It's so crazy. I drank water and I got up this morning and started getting ready, and now here I am in this. And I'm going to say that I'm hungry. I don't know if any of you are out there. But the next thing we're going to move into, this is going to be a really short, quick week this week, is the new deck of cards this week. So I went out looking for Lynn Andrews, who is a lady that I was talking about last week, and the deck of the Power Deck, or the Book of Power, whichever I called it last week. And come to find out, the universe said this is not ready yet to come to manifestation, because it's going to take like 4 weeks for me to get it from actually from Barnes and Noble if I order it, because I went into the store, they didn't have it in their warehouse. I went on a hunt for it, 3 different Barnes and Nobles, didn't find it, and then I found this. Ask and It Will Happen. It's by Joanne Gregory. So ask and it will happen. And, I think birds are actually an interesting theme in my life right now. Our backyard has been full of birds in the morning. Like, they're all over the floor, the ground, just picking at stuff. And, they're all looking at me like, we're here. And so I felt like something resonated with me there. So this is the book. And this is the box of cards. So this week I'm just going to pick the first card, and then we'll look in the book. So I took out one of the decks, because there's 2 decks, and I'm just going to open them up like this. And I feel like this one right here is what I want to pull out. So turn it this way. Embrace your life purpose. Oh, geez, wow. Okay, so the back of it says, karma is not punishment, but a choice and a chance to grow. So, interestingly enough, my partner, and I'm going to pull up what, it says in the book. But my partner actually said to me yesterday, he's like, I feel like we're at a point in our business, in our life, where we're like, it's the zit that's about to pop. And I looked at him and I said, it's actually interesting that you say that, because I feel like the past 3 years have just been like a karma cleanup, and we're now at like the next initiation in our food chain of like where we're going as a partnership and in life and in business. So embrace, 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 embrace. Embrace your life purpose. Card 30, page 41. So, what is Joanne telling us? She says, if you have drawn this card today, you are being asked to recognize that we are born with free will and choose how we live our lives. Recently, you may have been presented with a challenge, acknowledging that karma is not punishment, but a choice that gives you a chance to grow spiritually. Know that your life's purpose will include challenge, but it will always give you the opportunity to shine. This was actually a really great. It was a really great book in or set. It cost me what, $15 to get it. It was like $15 or $16 for it, and I really like it. I think that it's pretty cool. As I always say, super cool, pretty cool, and so I'm gonna put the activity. This is kind of like, it's like, it's really weird because I was in such a flow with like the last 8 weeks and then the ninth week, and now I'm starting a new week, and I feel like I'm like at like a whole new level of like baby steps. I feel like I'm like, well, so just bear with me this week as we go into our next week of how we affect change in the world around us. And the first change that came up for this week in tools is forget about motivation and plow through it, and the motivation will come. And eliminate the non-essential things in your life and just focus on what's essential. And the activity this week is to embrace your life's purpose and recognize that karma is not punishment, but a choice and a chance to grow. So as you walk out this week, really just take a look at what's going on. Choose 2 areas of your life that you want to really look at, how, or not even 2, just look at your life and embrace your life's purpose. What is your life's purpose? 2, how are you on that road to it? And 3, eliminate, forget about motivation, and just have a really great week. So at 9:17 on today's the 17th. Yesterday was one of our Phenomenal Girls' birthdays, so happy birthday to you, Letziano. I know that you are completely present and in the moment, and you are totally embracing your life's purpose. So you are somebody that we celebrate this week in Phenomenal-ness. And yeah, if you guys just want to now close your eyes and bring back that energy, and just, take a deep breath and think about something that you truly love, and just let that breath come into you and just fill up your heart. And I heard heart chakra as my dog barked. I today heard heart chakra. So if you want to take a moment when you're in your travels on the internet and take a look at what the heart chakra means, I'm going to take a look for myself, and I'll probably share that as an individual post on the Phenomenal Girl page. But yeah, have a phenomenal week. Go out, enjoy, celebrate, feel abundant in your energy, and just share and embrace who you are. You are beautiful, you are phenomenal, and this ends part 1 of how we affect change in the world around us this week in Phenomenal-ness. Ciao for now!